YouTube, Crown Vic Nation. What's going on, everybody? Shout out to everybody who tried to give me advice. Shout out to everybody that's going through any of your issues. Trust me, I know you guys also said you felt my pain, and trust me, I feel your pain too, because you wish things would just function how they should. But I did try the carb cleaner spray. Nothing was abnormal. I probably try to do it again, but one thing that I heard hissing from was the evap canister, and I swapped those out. You know, I did everything as far as checking all the vacuum hoses. I even took off the catch can. You know, everything is back on as normal. Well, not as normal as it can get. I was told to maybe see if the tune could be off. I mean, I don't want to, necessarily insult people's intelligence, because it's like when they do it all the time, it's like, well, do I say something or don't I? I want to see if I put back on all the stock stuff as far as the plenum and throttle body. I was wondering, will that stop the issue? But I don't have one of the induction tubes. I have the throttle body and plenum, but I don't have the induction tube, because this is I wasn't paying enough attention to it when it first started happening. Sorry about that. I didn't initially pay too much of attention when it first happened, because I took this throttle body setup. Now, it was before the tube here, but it had the cone in the stock tube, so I did use that without this P0109 code on my other 2011 Crown Vic. I didn't have this type of issue, with that car. So I was, thinking, well, it didn't go wrong on that car. So I'm trying to, eliminate certain things, but it's kind of hard to tell. This car, and this is why I told you guys, this is why I like this type of car. Even if you go back and see some of my previous videos, the car was running just fine with everything you see on here now. Everything. So I'm just, keep the comments. And I did, one of the people who was giving me advice told me about the PC, I think it was Power Control and Emissions Control book. I did see that, sir. So I appreciate you, pointing that out to me. There is a such thing, I think PCED, or I think it is, because it's Power Control, Emissions Control, or emissions something. I forgot the exact word form, but it is a such thing as that. So I know, you are very knowledgeable, so I appreciate that help. And that book is very expensive. That book is like $200, and that was a used one. So let me just try to go over some of the vacuum lines. I mean, you can clearly see them now. One thing I was thinking is you see it has all these T's and stuff. I don't know if you guys can see, but it has T's and everything, and I tried to, do some preliminary test on it, and, everything checked out. So I checked the canisters. This line is, all these lines. You have, okay, let me go over. You have the EGR vacuum line that goes to the plenum, which also goes to the fuel rail pressure sensor. You have the PCV that provides vacuum from the plenum, and I checked all around there. You have the brake booster, and that it goes to the EGR, the evap canister situation. Also, vacuum comes through the throttle body. Now, I have ran no gasket on this one on the other car. You know, and I don't see any cracks in my tube coming through here. It has, you know, clamps tight as it can get. And as you can see, I mean, it is glued around here, but I did, you know, do all my checks. I mean, I might change it over to the older one, but the older one did the same thing, you know. And I was trying to tell you guys, it happened on the older stock motor when I would disconnect the battery and do some maintenance on the coils or something like that, and I would plug the battery back up and the car was shaking. It was popping a lean condition. It was popping the code P0109, and it was some other code about the oxygen sensors, I believe. And I'm not popping those. That code, those two codes specifically, is just the P0109. And it also started, like I say, the other two codes, which is a random misfire and all that. So before I do something desperate and, you know, have to dig further in the engine, you know, as I did here, you know, the smoke test situation, I do want to try that first. The plugs, let me get those and explain. So these are the plugs. I don't know if you can see, they do definitely have a, kind of a dark tint around them. And one thing I was telling my homie, I was like, well, I'll grant it that the spark plugs are gonna be a little abnormal because it was a fresh rebuilt top to bottom engine. Fresh. It was new rings. Oh, a lot of bugs out here, guys. I'm sorry, I'm twitching, and there's a lot of bugs out here. Just at night they just come out. This was another one. Need to focus. This is what these plugs look like. And I didn't notice any abnormality up under where the spark comes from. I mean, everything looks intact. And like I say, I give the engine the benefit of the doubt with the spark plugs because, you know, I figured it's going to have a little bit of blow by. It could have a little bit of, you know, it's going to be, it's a first startup, you know, and I know when you guys have, you know, have new cars, I know you probably don't pay attention to what the spark plugs look like once you change them. And a lot of people lease cars, so you never know the outcome of what the spark plugs look like if you ever had one. So this is the third one. And these are all NGKRs. These are the copper core TR60 V-Power. See, it won't show, you know, it's kind of using my cell phone. It's kind of yucky, but yeah, I'm trying to figure this out, you know, before I have to check timing. It's just like, you know, I don't, you know, I will have to, the one thing about doing that is because I would want to take the motor out. I mean, it is, I mean, I would try to adjust. If I mean, I would definitely give it a shot in the car. I would have to buy some different equipment to degree it in the car. I don't think it will be that hard, but it will be just inconvenient. So if it comes down to, you know, having to truly check the timing of the cams for whatever reason. And I also told my homeboy, I was like, look, people will get comp cams and 270, you know, the 262s and the 270 comp cams. And I know people stage 20, stage this, but comp cam has a non-PI and a PI cam selection. Some people think they got a stage 20 when it's simply you have either a non-PI cam, stage 1, 2, or 3, or you have a PI stage 1, 2, or 3. There's no such thing as a comp cam stage 20. I mean, it's like, what? But they will take those two cams between the 262 and the 270 and drop those straight in. With that, most don't have any piston valve clearance. Most of those guys just simply put it in, drop in type situation with no degree and no nothing. And I said, hey, I took the time to try to degree it. And I'm like, you know, it's hard for me to think that I messed up on the degreeing because I did it for so long. I said, no, I want to make sure my reading's right. I consistently came up with the same reading is when I finally, you know, set where I was going. And I don't know if you guys know, but I did switch back to the stock gears, which I had to grind on the driver's side, you know, to get a little more advanced, because they were off my calculations. This one was like, I want to say with the stock gears, and I remind you, the heads and everything have been milled, so it could have some type of fluctuation, but one bank was way off further than the other, and that's why I had to grind the gears to get this one to line up with this one. And I only had a half a degree off, which I consistently came up with that number. So, you know, could the chains have slipped? I don't know. Could I have put one link on different than what I was supposed to? I checked many times about that, you know. So, you know, Crown Vic, this is a lifestyle, you know. Some things, these can be a battle, and you just have to figure it out. I've seen a lot of, that's why I don't want to discourage any of you guys from doing this, because there's been a lot of guys who had a lot of success. I'm just one of those few that have to figure things out the hard way, you know. So, and another thing is that if the car didn't do this before the engine was in, out of like, you know what, cam time is absolutely off. But if the car was shaking for about 20 minutes and then it would start to smooth its way out, you know, and it popped 3 codes, include, you know, with the P0109. So I repeat, you know, some of these symptoms happened before I put my engine in. It just worsened once I got the engine in. So I don't know. I don't know if you know, I need to check fuel pressure, which that's one thing I haven't done yet, is check fuel pressure. Fuel injectors I've had around for a while. Could those be poofing, you know, and handling this misfire? I don't know. These fuel injectors are off of a 2011 to 16 Coyote, I should say. So they're about a 34 point something pound injector. Now, could they be clogged? I don't know, man. It could be a possibility. I don't know. So I'm trying to get much advice from you guys. You know, Crown Vic Nation. You guys, you know, we trying to make these things great again. I'm trying to find how. You know, the engine, like I say, it would shift at 54, which is way lower. This engine can go up to 65. It has a lot left in these cams, so I don't, and I should say the cams, like I say, came straight from a cam grind company. These are not no bootleg off the shelf. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. This came from a cam company. You know, they're a little loud because it has a lot of lift, you know, as far as, you know, when the cam rotates and hit the lash adjusters and the followers, you know, it's going to make a little more noise because it's a 575 lift cam trying to extract every drop out of these heads. So YouTube, I'm sorry for such a long rambling video, but I'm just definitely trying to figure out what is going on. I checked as much as I could. Changed that this is the third PCM that's on here. I had 3, you know, obviously I have 3 Vicks. That's the third PCM. That's off the 2011 other white one that I have. That's off of there, so I put that on there. Same thing. Evap, you know, canister I changed. Hoses. I changed a lot of different things. So Crown Vic Nation, I appreciate all your support. Keep the comments coming in. I do appreciate that, you know. And I'm gonna see about that PCED or electronic. I forgot, like I said, I forgot the exact term for it. I'll be checking that out. So this is a little bit of a long video about rambling, but you know, just trying to explain to you guys some things. So Crown Vic Nation, I'll catch you. Keep supporting. Peace. We'll get through it. Let's make Crown Vics great again.